Hello, all you nice people. Thank you so much for showing up today. We're all familiar with the maxim, love thy neighbor as thyself. And usually we consider this an admonition to be kind to other people. However, in many cases, we love our neighbor more than ourselves. And in that case, the teaching is that we need to be kind to ourselves as much as we are to our neighbors. We're balancing the equation. A number of years ago, I was in the kitchen and I dropped a dish and it broke. And out of my mouth came these words, "You clumsy idiot." I thought, whoa, I would never say that to anybody else. Why would I say it to myself? And I realized I had a double standard. I would do my best to respect and love and be kind to other people, but when it came to myself, I was harsher. And I realized in that moment that I needed to balance the equation and give myself the same compassion and courtesy that I would somebody else. So self-nurturing is something we could probably all use a lot more of. In almost all of my coaching sessions, we end up talking about what would it take for you to take better care of yourself. Walk in the woods, walk by the ocean, take a nap, do some yoga, meditate, read something, have some fun, see some friends. And usually when we get around to that in a coaching session, the client lights up because they've been denying themselves good things they would love to do. We've been taught that it's holy or spiritual to sacrifice and to deny yourself and to do nicer things for other people than you would for yourself. But really, we need to look within as much as we're looking out. We need to recognize that we've been limited by our beliefs of what we deserve. I used to visit a lovely retreat center in Northern California called Harbin Hot Springs. And they have wonderful massage therapists, a great staff. So I would go there for a little retreat for 3 or 4 or 5 days on my way somewhere or back. And I would sign up for a massage, one massage. And one night I arrived late, and they have this little book where you would pencil in your name if you wanted a massage appointment at a certain time. And I wrote my name in for one massage. And I noticed there was another guy who had signed up for a massage every day for like 4 or 5 days. And I thought, whoa, you're allowed to sign up for 4 or 5 massages? Isn't that self-indulgent? And the voice said, no, not if you really want to take care of yourself. If you're on retreat and vacation, why not go for it? And so I signed up for a massage every day or every other day. It was really fun. And so we need to rethink our idea of any idea that self-sacrifice is helping the world in any way. And someone said, when you're a light, you inspire people. They said that the greatest gift you can give your children is enthusiasm. Because when your kids or your friends or your students see a teacher who's alive and enlightened, filled with light, they say, well, I want to do that too. It's a vibrational thing more than a verbal thing. Jesus said, do not cover your light with a basket. Don't smother yourself with terrible self-restrictions and over-discipline. Discipline is good, but too much is not. I also remember many years ago, I was in college, and I used to go to this local laundromat to do my laundry. And there used to be this cool little Italian restaurant right next to the laundromat. And one day I was hungry as I was going to the laundromat. And I thought, wow, I'd really like a nice eggplant Parmesan sandwich. And immediately this voice came and said, no, wait a minute. The bread might not be organic, and and dairy is not so good for you. And eggplant, that's a nightshade. Ooh, and all these negative, fear-based voices started coming out. Don't have that sandwich. And another voice came and it said, if Alan, if you had a little boy 5 or 6 years old. And he said, "Daddy, I'd really like a nice eggplant sandwich. Would you get me one? What would you do?" I thought, well, yeah, I'd get him that sandwich. I'd take him right into that restaurant and give him the nicest sandwich he ever had because I loved him. And he wanted it. It would make him happy. And then the voice, well, why don't you do the same for yourself? Why would you not do for yourself what you would do for a child that you loved? Oh, let me think about this. So nature is based on cycles and balance. And a lake needs an inlet and it needs an outlet. If it has no outlet, it'll back up and flood. If it has no inlet, it will dry up. It won't be any good to the living creatures in the water or the plants around it. So we want to allow the inlet to be as much as the outlet. That's a healthy balance. Another analogy is a sponge. If you squeeze a sponge out until it's dry, it's going to be too dry to serve its purpose as a sponge. You need to dip it in water and let its pores soak up some more water so it can serve its purpose. So, the question is, are you allowing the inlet in your life, or is it mostly an outlet? And if you're burnt out in any way, I promise you that you're doing more outlet than inlet. So what would it take to fill yourself up some more? What would it take to make your time, at least some time in your day, renewing time? Isn't that a wonderful word? Renewal. I teach lots of retreats, and I've explored that word retreat. Retreat. In other words, you used to know how to treat yourself when you were a child, probably, but you forgot. And so you need to remember, R-E, you need to retreat yourself and know what it is to have a treat. I used to work in a restaurant, and I usually work the dinner shift, and we prepare starting mid-afternoon. And I used to go down into the basement of the restaurant every day before the dinner hour started, and I would sit and I would meditate for 15 minutes. I was doing transcendental meditation at the time, and I would just sit and I would say my mantra, and I'd go in, and I'd feel more and more and more and more relaxed and renewed. And by the time that 15 minutes was done, I would go back up, and it would be like I was starting a new day. It was wonderful. It was almost like I had a good night's sleep just for that 15 minutes of self-renewal. So what's your idea of self-renewal? Walking by the ocean, taking a yoga class, taking an art class, going out to dinner with good friends. Have you done enough of this lately? I know with the pandemic, a lot of things have been shut down, but you can still find ways to take good care of yourself. Nothing is worth self-sacrifice, because a sacrificed person is no good to anybody. You're all numb and depleted and sad and annoying to be with. So people who are self-sacrificial are not fun to be with because they don't have joy, they don't have playfulness, they don't have light in their eyes. They're busy. They're busy being spiritual, but they're not really being spiritual because the spirit is dampened. So whatever it takes to expand your spirit is a service to the universe. Your happiness is your gift to the world. We think that our gift to the world are action, doing things for people and donating to charity and all that good stuff is all fine. But if you're not feeling joyful when you're doing it, it ain't such a good service. And there's another piece here, that self-renewal and self-nurturing actually makes you more effective. I used to coach a CEO of a company, he had his own business, and he was pretty burnt out. So I gave him some homework. I said, okay, you've been working 6 days a week. How about if you work 5 and take 1 day purely for renewal? And he resisted at first, but eventually he agreed. And he came back and he looked so good. He said, in that I go fishing, I go hiking, I do some fun stuff with my buddies. And he said, in that one extra day off, I get so many good ideas that I bring back to my work. And my work is succeeding. I'm having more fun. My employees are having more fun. It's becoming more profitable because I'm coming back to work with a fresh mind. And I learned this years ago in college. One night I was pulling an all-nighter, finishing a term paper, and I was sitting in the lounge of the student area, and somebody said to me, Alan, you look pretty tired. Yeah, I got to finish this term paper. Well, he said, have you heard of diminishing returns? Well, what's diminishing returns? Well, there's a point at which if you keep working any longer, you're not going to be any more successful. In fact, you'll actually diminish your success because you're not thinking straight and you're tired. So if you just get some sleep or get some rest and revisit it, even a little bit of rest, you'll be so much more efficient than if you just keep working and pushing and pushing and pushing. And if you look at nature, everything in nature knows how to rest. Have you noticed that? That all animals take lots of naps. Dogs take naps. If you have dog pets, they nap frequently during the day. Cats sleep 18 hours a day. And nature is built on cycles of doing, release, launch, release, act, rest. Even the seasons. There's a time when there's growing and enhancement and expansion and intense energy, and then you get fall and winter when everything kind of dies back, and it's and there's renewal time. And winter actually kills off various pests that would proliferate if there was no season change. And even in the winter time, good things are happening. I used to grow lots of bamboo, one of my favorite plants, and I learned that in the summertime, the bamboo shoots up like crazy. We used to see it grow like 6 inches in a day. You can almost watch bamboo grow. And in the wintertime, it doesn't grow very much, but it's sending down roots. And it's doing its inner work. The roots are growing in the winter. So when the summer comes around again, that root work will establish more of an ability to draw nutrients and water from the soil, and that enhances the growth during the warmer season. So even the winter time is a productive season. It looks like the trees are dying, but they're not. The energy is just going in and drawing from the inner world so it expressed later in the outer world. So what if you and I decided to take some more time every day just to renew and relax? A 15-minute nap, a little meditation time, a little yoga time, walking in the neighborhood, walking your dog, sitting by the lake, calling a friend, just watching a funny or inspirational video. You know what your renewal thing is. And, your renewal thing cannot be judged by anybody else. It's it's your business, not theirs. And you don't get to judge anybody else's renewal time. So if something truly makes you more joyful and opens your heart and touches your spirit, it's worth it. It's an investment in your life. Quiet time, spiritual time, that's not wasted at all. It's the most valuable time of your day. I heard that there was a man who had a sign on his desk that said, anybody who's too busy to pray is too busy. So prayer may not be your thing, but maybe just perusing a magazine that you enjoy or reading a novel. That's soul nurturing, which is what life is all about. I work in Japan quite a bit, and Japanese tend to be workaholics. I go to Japan and stand on my hotel balcony late at night, like 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I would see all these office buildings with lights on. And I yell, go home. And when I first started teaching in Japan, I would talk about self-nurturing, and I have a translator. And the translator would have a hard time with the word self-nurturing because there's not a word for that in Japanese. And isn't that interesting that the culture has become divorced from self-care? And they're getting better and better. But, isn't it sad when your life is all about doing and getting somewhere instead of being somewhere? And mostly just being with yourself, being with your pets, being with your loved ones. So can you and I make a commitment? Can I give you some homework? What if this week you decided to take 20 minutes, 30 minutes each day, more if you could afford it, but 20 minutes or 30 minutes is not too much to ask. And you say to your family, mommy's going in her room for a few minutes, or mommy's taking a walk, or I'm going to go out and see my friends for a little while. And you sign up for that art class, or you renewed that yoga class. Wow. Or let's say you scheduled a little vacation for a weekend to go see your friends if you could, or a day or an evening for dinner with you. What if you organized a dinner for the people you love? Wow. Don't work to organize, but let it be a fun organization. So what if we each gave ourselves at least 20 or 30 minutes? What would your self-renewal be? Think about it for a moment. Just be honest. I don't care if anybody agrees with you or does the same thing or supports you. What is your idea of something that makes your day better and that opens your heart and brings you back into life with a zest and a vigor and a fervor and a vitality that says, well, I'm showing up here. I'm going to be here for myself. I'm going to be here for the people I love because I have had the guts and the self-honoring and self-love to take good care of myself. I am now balancing the equation. I'm usually really kind and helpful to lots of other people. And now I'm going to balance the equation. I'm going to love myself as much as my neighbor. Thanks for showing up today. I hope this was helpful to you. Let's check in next week and see how you did with your self-nurturing week. Have a great week.